Hare Founder-Acharya Ashtottara Śrīmad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga, all glories to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudhiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatiruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you for today's discussion of Granth Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. We are reading from the most important canto and the best canto in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1. We are reading from verse number 42. Yato dhavati daiva choditam Mano vikaratmakama panchasu Guneshu maya rachiteshu dehyasau Prapadyamanah sahatena jayate Yato dhavati daiva choditam Mano vikaratmakama panchasu Guneshu maya rachiteshu dehyasau Prapadyamana sahatena jayate Yato dhavati daiva choditam Mano vikaratmakama panchasu Guneshu maya rachiteshu dehyasau Prapadyamana sahatena jayate Yato dhavati daiva choditam Mano vikaratmakama panchasu Guneshu maya ruchiteshu dehasau Prapadyamana
सहते न जायते
प्रपद्यमाना सहते न जायते
यतो यतो धावति देव चोदितम् मनो विकारात्मकमात्रपञ्चसु गुणेषु माया रचितेषु देहसो प्रपद्यमाना सहते न जायते यतो यतो धावति देव चोदितम् मनो विकारात्मकमात्रपञ्चसु गुणेषु माया रचितेषु देहसु प्रपद्यमाना सहते न जायते यतो यतो धावति देव चोदितम् मनो विकारात्मकमापपञ्चसु गुणेषु माया रचितेषु देहसु प्रपद्यमाना सहते न जायते
yatah from one place to another
from one place to another
or from one position to another
or from one position to another
dhavati speculates daiva choditam impelled by accident or deliberation manaha the mind vikara atmakam changing from one type of thinking, feeling and willing to another.
Changing from one type of thinking, feeling and willing to another.
Apa. At the end, he obtains a mentality. Panchasu. At the time of death. When the material body totally turns into matter. Guneshu. The mind not being liberated becomes attached.
The mind not being liberated becomes attached
to the material qualities. Maya rachiteshu. Where the material energy creates a similar body. Dehi. The spirit soul. Who accepts such a body. Asau. He. Prapadyamanaha. Being surrendered to such a condition. Saha. With. Tena. A similar body. Jayate. Takes birth. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. At the time of death, according to the thinking, feeling and willing of the mind, which is involved in fruitive activities, one receives a particular body. In other words, the body develops according to the activities of the mind. Changes of body are due to the flickering of the mind, for otherwise the soul could remain in its original spiritual body. Purport. One can very easily understand that the mind is constantly flickering, changing in the quality of its thinking, feeling and willing. This is explained by Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita 6.34. Chanchalam himana Krishna pramati balavadridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. The mind is chanchala, flickering, and it changes very strongly. Therefore, Arjuna admitted that controlling the mind is not at all possible. This would be as difficult as controlling the wind. For example, if one were in a boat moving according to the wind on a river or the sea, and the wind were uncontrollable, the tilting of the boat would be very much disturbed and extremely difficult to control. It might even capsize. Therefore, in the Bhava Samudra, the ocean of mental speculation and transmigration of different types of bodies, one must first control the mind. By regulative practice, one can control the mind. And this is the purpose of the yoga system, Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena. But there is a chance of failure with the yoga system, especially in this age of Kali, because the yoga system uses artificial means. If the mind is engaged in Bhakti Yoga, however, by the grace of Krishna, one can very easily control it. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Iva Kevalam. One should chant the holy name of the Lord constantly, for the holy name of the Lord is non-different from Hari, the Supreme Person. By chanting the Hare Krishna mantra constantly, one can fix the mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. Savai Manah Krishna Padara Vindayo. And in this way achieve the perfection of yoga. Otherwise, the flickering mind will hover on the platform of mental speculation for sense enjoyment, and one will have to transmigrate from one type of body to another because the mind is trained only in relation to the material elements, or in other words, to sense gratification, which is false. Maya Sukhaya Bharam Udvahato Vimudhan. 7.943 Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Rascals, Vimudhan, being controlled by mental speculation, make huge arrangements by which to enjoy life temporarily. But they must give up the body at the time of death, when everything is taken away by Krishna's external energy. Mrityu sarvaharashchaham. At that time, whatever one has created in this life is lost, and one must automatically accept a new body by the force of material nature. In this life, one may have constructed a very tall skyscraper, but in the next life, because of one's mentality, one may have to accept a body like that of a cat, a dog, a tree, or perhaps a demigod. Thus, the body is offered by the laws of material nature, karanam gunasangosya sadasat janma yonishu, or yoni janmashu. Bhagavad Gita 13:22. The spirit soul takes birth in higher and lower species of life only because of his association with the three qualities of material nature. Urdhvam gacchanti sattvastha, madhye tishtanti rajasaha, jaghanya gunavrittistha, adho gacchanti tamasaha. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. Bhagavad Gita 14:18. In conclusion, Krishna consciousness movement offers the topmost welfare activity for human society. The Sena section of the human society must therefore take this movement very seriously for the benefit of all humanity. To save oneself from the repetition of birth and death, one must purify his consciousness. Sarvopadhi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam. One must be freed from all designations. I am American, I am Indian, I am this, I am that, and come to the platform of understanding that Krishna is the original master and we are his eternal servants. When the senses are purified and engaged in Krishna's service, one achieves the highest perfection. Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. The Krishna consciousness movement is a movement of Bhakti Yoga. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga. By following the principles of this movement, one becomes disassociated from material mental concoctions and is established on the original platform of the eternal relationship between the living entity and the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a servant and a master. This, in summary, is the purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhambitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yam Pravrajantam Anupetam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayana Viraha Katara Achuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravobhinedu Stham Sarva Bhuta Hridayam Munimanatosmi. Actually, after reading Prabhupada's purports, there is nothing to be said actually. Prabhupada's purports are amazing. But I'll just speak a few words for my own purification. So, before we discuss today's context, I was thinking we will just meditate a few minutes on the significance of the Shastra we are studying, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Krishna appeared in the which yuga? Dwapara Yuga. And he also states his purpose in the Bhagavad Gita. Why did he appear? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir-bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijami aham. Then he says paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So he is coming. These are the two purposes he states. That yada yada hi dharmasya, when the dharma, when righteousness is being destroyed, then I will appear. That's what Krishna says. And then he also says, I appear to protect the saintly, paritranaya sadhunam, and I also come to annihilate the miscreants. But now, Krishna, when he was around, in his personal form, well, Krishna is around all the time, everywhere, at all time, places, circumstances, but he manifests himself that we can perceive with our five senses. Because right now, he is not perceptible by our five senses. At least not for me. So, but when Krishna was there in his personal manifestation, people could relate to him, right? But then in the Bhagavatam, it says, Krishne swadhamo pagate dharman bhagavataniha dharman jnanadhibisaha kalau nashtadrisham esha purana arka adhunoditaha. When Krishna became unmanifest, then what is the hope? What happens to dharma? How can the miscreants be annihilated? Purana arka adhunoditaha. The sun called Śrīmad Bhāgavatam has then manifested. So when Krishna disappeared, Bhāgavatam appeared. So that is what Bhāgavatam states. Now, we can also meditate. When Krishna was there in the personal form, he was very attractive. When the gopis used to run, we all know from the examples of Akrura, Uddhava, Arjuna, the gopis used to sing Atati yad bhavan ahnikananam Triti yugayate tvam apashyatam Kutilakuntalam Shrimukham Chate Jada Udikshatam Pakshmakridrisham. The gopi is saying that you are so beautiful, Krishna, that even the creator Brahma, he has created an impediment, a false device, which is the eyelids. Because even when I wink my eyes, that is an interruption for me to see your beauty incessantly. So they are chastising Brahmaji for his inferior creation. That we want to see you all the time. Even the winking of the eyelid is an impediment in my darshan. Can you believe so much attracted they are to Krishna when he is manifest? And then this is called their attachment. They had intense attachment for Krishna. And then they also had Vairagya Vidya, Nijabhakti Yoga, Prabhupada. They said, Pati Sutan Vaya Bhratra Bandhavan Ati Vilankhatenti Achyuta Gataha Gati Vidastavod Gita Mohita Khitavayoshita Kastya Jenishi. They used to come in the night in the forest to meet Krishna, and they used to say Pati Sutta Anvaya. All the husbands, children, parents, we have rejected them, Krishna. Pati Sutta Anvaya Bhratra Bandhavan. My brother, everybody we have rejected. For what? Gita Mohita. We have got attracted to your lotus lips and the flute with which you play, and therefore we have come and we have got detached from our material attachments, the gopis say. But then, what is our hope? Because we are not experiencing Krishna face to face, like Uddhava did, like Akrura did, like Arjuna did, like the gopis did. What is our hope? In fact, in the Bhagavad Gita, there is a verse. But before we go to the verse, we will experience one thing. When we eat, we don't eat separately for strength. Say, now I will eat for my strength. Then you'll come here, take another. Now I will eat for my taste. Then I'll say, now I'll eat for my satisfaction. We don't eat like that. We eat, and then all of the three things happen together. Tushti, Pushti, and Tushti, Pushti, Kshud Apayo, Anughasam. Bhakti, Pareshanubhava, Viraktir. So there are three things that happens at the same time. Just like when we eat, three things happen. What is that? Tushti means what? Nourishment. Tushti means satisfaction. And then Pushti means nourishment. And at the same time, Kshut, the hunger automatically goes away. Is it not? Let's say we are very hungry to eat rasgulla. We eat 10 rasgullas. After the same rasgulla, we are attracted to the 11th one, we start rejecting. No, that's enough. So, detachment also comes. Is it not? The same process of eating has created detachment from the same thing we were attached to just a few minutes ago. Is it not? In the same way, Bhagavatam compares that when we prapadyamanasya yathashnatah, when we surrender to the Supreme Lord or to the messages of the Supreme Lord which Bhagavatam elucidates, then bhakti automatically comes. Then para-ishanubhava. Para-ishanubhava means we say in Hindi we say pareshan. Pareshan comes from the word para-isha anubhava. Para-isha anubhava means I can have direct perception of the Lord, and virakti means detachment from the material, quagmire of this morbid affliction we have. So all these three happen simultaneously. Not that we have to work extra towards detachment, not that we have to work extra towards para-ishanubhava, the direct perception of the. All these three happen simultaneously when we actually surrender to the messages of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. That is the beauty, because Krishna, the Bhagavatam, has appeared, has manifested in the place of Sri Krishna's personal manifestation or the personal form. Now coming back, Krishna came for these two purposes, is it not? He came to establish Dharma. He killed Kamsa. What has Bhagavatam come to? What is the purpose of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam? It is said Krishna's purposes never change. Krishna comes for the same purpose only. It is said Krishna comes to kill Kamsa. And Acharya say in the Kali Yuga, Kamsa has manifested as Kalanemi. Acharya Madhvacharya says he's manifested as Kalanemi within all of us. How does he manifest? This is the verse. Now this verse, to put in context, to come back to the context of this verse, Vasudeva, is trying to convince Kamsa in nice words. First, he actually he tilled the land by glorifying Kamsa. Oh, you are such a nice person. You are such a glorious brother of your sister Devaki. He plowed the land. Now he's trying to put the seeds of detachment and bhakti in him. This is called as putting the seeds and sowing the seeds. That's why you see a few verses. He's preaching that I am not this body. We are not this body. Why are you getting so much attached? Anyways, we are going to die. That's what he's trying to preach. Interestingly, Krishna preached the same message to Arjuna to become strong. Vasudeva is preaching the same message to Kamsa to become soft. Because there Arjuna had put down his weapon. Now the same philosophy is being preached to actually put down the weapon. Because Krishna is preaching for Arjuna to lift the weapon because he had put down his weapon. Here Vasudeva is preaching the same the philosophy to make Kamsa put down his weapon. So it's a very interesting comparison. And here specifically this verse talks about yato yato dhavati. Yato yato dhavati mano vikaratmakam. Yato yato dhavati mano vikaratmakam. This manas, the nirvachana of manas. Nirvachana means every word in Sanskrit has an etymology. So manas means sankalpa vikalpatmakam manasa. Manaha means mind does two things. It accepts, it rejects, or it desires, it hates. That's what it does. Raga, krodha, raga or tyaga, like that. It attaches itself or it rejects one thing. So this is the duty of the mind. And the mind, yato yato dhavati mano vikaratmakam, means where it continuously moves from one thing to the other. One thing, especially in today's day and age where we have lavish resources called the mobile phone and the devices, our mind is even more agitated. Even more. In today's context, it is said, modern human mind cannot focus on one thing for more than, you know what is the parameter?
7 seconds.
7 seconds.
Wow.
Thank you, Prabhu. 7 to 8 seconds is the modern focus time that has come down to human mind. 7 seconds, can you believe that? Not even minute. 7 seconds. So much disturbed we are, actually. So, yato yato dhavati mano vikarat. Vikara means keeps changing all the time. It keeps changing. You sit for chanting, something else will come. You start doing something, something else will come. Especially the ting, ting messages also. Now it's even more assisting. The mobile phone will assist. Even more dhavati. It will go everywhere. The mind is impelled. And why does the mind go like this? The secret is, there is another portion of the mind, which in English language there is no nomenclature for this. It is called chitta. Chitta is like a memory shell. It's a hard drive. The hard drive sits behind the mind and it keeps popping up thoughts and desires. Because this hard drive is an accumulation of the impressions that a jiva has collected for millions of lifetimes. And all of that is compacted in an unseen hard drive called chitta. And chitta keeps popping up thoughts, desires. And mind will say, yes, I want it. Mind will say, no, I don't want it now. You know, like that. Then you're reading Bhagavatam, the mind will say, you're very tired. Time for ice cream. Thought. And then mind will say, no. Strictly reading Bhagavatam. Thought will come, at least have some coconut water. No. At least look at your WhatsApp messages. No. You know, you keep. So this chitta is what stores these impressions. So, mind then latches on one of the thoughts and then starts experiencing something called as thinking, feeling and willing. First the thought comes from the chitta, then it feels ice cream. Which flavor? This is feeling. Blueberry. And then willing. Is it already there in the fridge or shall we go and buy or shall we make one? So like this is how the process of thinking, feeling, willing happens. And it's very difficult to control. Prabhupada starts with the purport, Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramati balavadridam. What is Krishna's answer to this verse? Abhyasena tu kaunte, Krishna says. So, in this verse, it is also said, Dehi asau apa panchasu guneshu maya rachiteshu. Why this becomes very critical is, in the Avanti Brahmana story in the 11th canto, the Avanti Brahmana says, actually, sometimes we think, what is the reason of my suffering? Why am I suffering? Why am I disturbed? The ultimatum, the reason is the mind. Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. It is only the mind which has actually brought us into this material world. I've given this example. All of you know a coconut. All of you seen a dry coconut. If you go to Bangalore and in surrounds of Mysore and Bangalore, you will see coconut farms. And what they do, when they pluck tender coconuts, they keep it for drying. They keep it in a place for drying. Hundreds of coconuts, okay? And gradually the green tender coconut turns to brown. I'm not talking of just the coconut inside, but the one which you pluck from the tree. The brown one without being peeled off. And then once you peel off that coconut, you will see the actual coconut which you keep for the kalash, kalash. That has tender coconut water inside it as well. But you dry that one as well, what happens? The coconut becomes sikud jata, it just dries up and then you can shake it. Initially you get water, but keep drying it, then you will get the coconut inside. Tok, 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 tok. Now, that coconut, the dried coconut inside the shell, imagine that your spirit soul. And then the outer shell is your body. And when the coconut rests inside, when you keep the coconut on the kalash, the dry coconut inside touches the shell. Now that point where it touches is your mind. That is the conduit between your material body and the spiritual body, the coconut. So that is the glue. The mind is the glue between our physical existence and the spiritual existence, the subtle existence. So this mind, Krishna says, you cannot overcome the mind because I am the mind, Krishna says. Among the five senses, I am the mind. So I cannot overcome this mind by my own endeavor. So this is the point. And what happens because of these impressions, Dehi Asav, this spirit soul then gets attached to one of the thoughts which then paves the way for Guneshu. And that thought could be in any of these three modes. It could be under the mode of goodness, this thought could be under the mode of passion, or it can be mode of ignorance. Based on the three modes, then Maya Rachiteshu Guneshu. Panchasu means Maya will take the desire, oh, you want to eat anything and everything? Okay, Maya will say, will create a body, it will construct a body for us and then say, here is the body within which you can enjoy your desire. So as this material body becomes the five material elements, another material body is constructed with another five material elements in the form of a hog or a cat or a dog and given to the jiva to enjoy his material desires, because that's what he desired. And the best part of it is, when you go to schools, what is the most difficult part of things in the school? I don't know, in our school it was different. In today's day and age it's different. What is the most difficult part? I think you don't even write exams these days, isn't it? But in our case, in our school, every year we have to write an exam. If you don't pass the exam, you can't go to the next grade. In here, there is nothing like that. So final, but at least you have the VC. Right? VC is exam. Okay. VC is the final exam, for students here in Victoria. So similarly, the Lord has kept a catch. The catch is yam yam vapi smaran bhavam antakale. Acharya Madhva writes in his Dvadasha Stotra, Vande Vandyam Sadanandam Vasudevam Niranjanam Indirapati Madhyadi Varade Varapradam Vande Vandyam. This is the stotra Acharya Madhva spontaneously renditioned when he was installing the deity of Krishna, which appeared along the sea of Udupi. And then in that Dvadasha means 12 stotras. In that one of the stotra, he ends the stotra like this: Santatam chintayonantam antakale visheshataha. Madhvacharya says, you have to remember Krishna. Santatam chintayonantam. Always you have to remember Krishna. But the most important is antakale visheshataha. The most important is to remember Krishna at the time of death. Naivodapo ghruණontontam yadgunanamajadayah. So he says, Krishna's qualities are limitless. So one has to remember his name, fame, pastimes, specifically at the time of death. That is what he's saying. Now coming back to the modern times, so then what did Bhagavatam manifest to kill? Krishna killed Kamsa. What did Bhagavatam manifest to kill? it has manifested to kill the Kalanemi within us. This Kalanemi is a demon. There is a story, one may think, Parikshit Maharaj was such an exalted devotee. Why did he put a snake around the Brahmana? Who was the Brahmana? Huh? Shaunaka Rishi. Shamika Rishi. Why did he put it on the Shamika Rishi? Why did the thought even come to him, thinking, feeling and willing? It is said that usually when the kings, defeat many other, when they become victorious, they collect their crowns. They collect all of crowns. So they'll have a big hall full of crowns. So that many number of crowns, that many kings they have defeated. So that day, interestingly, Parikshit picks up one very interesting crown and wears it, fully made of gold. And he starts going to the hunting, the forest. And it is said in one of the Puranas that it is because of this crown, for a moment Kali entered his mind. Because that crown was none other than Jarasandha's crown. And for that moment, it got blinded, and because Parikshit was a very exalted devotee and he used to respect and worship Brahmanas. How can he all of a sudden have this thought? So Kalanemi or Kali starts manifesting, because he himself had given the place for Kali in the gold, and he wore a gold crown. So even sometimes Krishna demonstrates to us that even Balavanapi Karshati, even very exalted personalities are also subjected to something like this. Of course, this is to show us as an example what to talk of us who are very mortal. These are exalted personalities, especially Parikshit Maharaj. So Kalanemi time and again manifests within us, within every Jivatma. And what is a symptom of, how do you identify if there is a Kalanemi? Very simply. There are three, I was just listing it out. When all does Kalanemi manifest within me? One is procrastination in bhakti. I will do my Bhagavatam studies tomorrow. I will do it on the weekend. I don't have time now. My body is very tired. My mind is agitated. And that is procrastination. On one end, I will procrastinate. I will always push it. This is called delaying tactics. I'm very hungry now. I'm very tired now. It's always procrastinate. Not picking up bhakti now. The second reason is Kalanemi manifests as complacency. If you read the 4-part series of books written by His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, it's called as the Beggar series. It's a very powerful book where he says, every time you get a thought which is against your Krishna consciousness, consider it to be an action of Kalanemi. Full stop. Every time you get a thought that stops you from doing bhakti, here is Kalanemi that has manifested. So time and again, sometimes our mode of goodness, sometimes mode of ignorance and passion comes about. So when passion and ignorance come about, Kalanemi is working. Sometimes complacency. Complacency means, now I have so many followers on my YouTube. Now I can relax. This is complacent. Now I know everything. I have finished Bhagavatam. I have finished Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now I have finished my 16 rounds. I can do my sense gratification. I'll do some Facebooking and Netflixing. All of this. This is complacency in bhakti. The second reason could be prioritizing material comfort over spiritual effort. Material comfort means, Prabhu, this is the time you should work, Prabhu. I've sometimes seen my own friends say, Prabhu, when you are young, you should earn money. When you are old, you can full time do bhakti, Prabhu. 16 why? 64, 128, Prabhu. Now you earn money, Prabhu. Now you don't earn, that time it will be very difficult, Prabhu. Now think about it. The more we are attached to material things, the more our body gets comfortable with material comfort, the more fear of material existence creeps into us. Because now, without that comfort, I cannot survive. Without a comfy bed, I cannot survive, because now I've got used to it. So, this material world has a wonderful arrangement. Everything beautiful is very attractive to us, is it not? Material comfort comes in very beautiful things, very packaged nicely. It comes as very packaged very nicely. For example, people go to watch this sunrise and sunset point. If you travel around there, this is a sunrise point. Oh, what beautiful sun, orange sun, fresh sun has come out. Oh, look at that. And then take pictures, and then selfie also they will take with the stick. All very nice, because this material world has a nature to package dangerous things in very beautiful things. When Putana came, she also came very beautiful. Very beautiful lady she gets. Everybody knows she's come from Swargaloka or what? Wait until she manifests. Wait until she unpackages herself. No, similarly, it is said, Ayur harati vai pumsam udyan astam chayan asu. Means the sun which looks very beautiful and attractive, the same people who are getting attracted to the sun are unaware that that same beautiful orange sun has taken you one day, Baba. That one sunrise and one sunset point has actually taken away one day of your precious human form of life. Tasyarthe yat kshano nita uttama shloka vartaya. So, this is how we get attracted and derided by material comfort against spiritual effort. So, therefore, Acharyas say, always try to control your mind and put it in an uncomfortable situation. We will come to see how modern science also works on this. And the third way how Kalanemi manifests, one of the most dangerous way, is finding faults with devotees. Very dangerous, because when we see faults in devotees, it is actually our own faults that we are seeing in them. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj says, the moment you see a fault in the devotee, actually it's my defect, that I'm seeing it there. I fail to see it in me, but I'm seeing it in that person, and I try to judge a person. So this is another way Kalanemi manifests. Therefore, you see in the modern context, this way how the mind is trained, thinking, feeling and willing. If you come to early education when you train children, this is how they train, thinking, feeling and willing. Thinking process, feeling means they'll give you toys of different colors, different types of toys, different shapes, and then they make you to do certain things. This is how they train us to interact with the mortal world, with the material world. I was researching, what does science tell about thinking, feeling and willing? Interestingly, there is one in the field of psychology. In today's psychology, they are trying to bring in Eastern thought processes into psychological treatments these days. There is one called Dr. Stephen Hayes. He says, get out of your mind and live a vital life. They have these terminologies and training. There's a new therapy that he's called as the father of new therapy called as acceptance and commitment therapy. I don't know if you've heard of it. ACT. I think Mataji does ACT too. So something called as ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy. He is the father of it. He says, you can choose to live a vital, committed human life even inside your pain. That doesn't have to go away before you get to have the privilege of being human. This is his philosophy, Dr. Stevens. And he says he's taken all these philosophies of psychological treatment through many Eastern philosophies like Buddhism, Jainism, Hinduism and parts of Eastern philosophies. And he's come up with this term called psychological flexibility. Means what? If somebody is in pain or suffering, this word suffering also has an etymology. Suffering, that ferrying means something you're ferrying a boat, a very heavy boat. Suff means to go under the heavy boat. That you're carrying something, that is what is called suffering. Suffering, it's actually you're carrying something in your mind which is very heavy. The feeling is very heavy. So you don't have to carry. That's what the psychological flexibility is. In India, there is one lady called as Pooja Sharma or someone from Delhi. Her brother or father passed away. And in COVID or something like that, I don't vaguely remember. And it was very difficult to get a burial done during the COVID times. And then during that time, she saw that there were so many unclaimed bodies in the mortuary who were not ready to come and burn because they had COVID. Their own families had abandoned the bodies. So she made a vow that from today I will take responsibility of those bodies. How she transformed her pain into a boon or a blessing, and now every day she goes out and the police call her. If there is an unclaimed body, she is the person who gets a call. The body nobody is claimed, can you please come? She will go, she will do the last rites, and then once in a month she collects all the ashes, goes to Haridwar and puts it in Ganga. She has made it a mission of her life to do this. She'll say, I will not get into any... So she's almost living the life of a sannyasi, but in her own way. How she has developed this psychological flexibility to create her own existence in this life from her suffering and pain, which is interesting. And you'll see many hundreds of examples like this. Therefore, he says they have come up with this concept called as be conscious of the present. Okay? I'll repeat the sentence again. They say be conscious of the present, which is called as mindfulness in today's lineage. But Bhagavatam says be consciousness of the present within inverted commas, called Krishna consciousness. That is the present, not the tense present, not the present tense or future tense, but the present called as Krishna consciousness. Because ultimate psychological flexibility, what will you focus on? Your mind is focused on being now, right here, right now. But what is right here, right now? It is transient. This material world is changing all the time. So what can you focus anyways? Is it not? You can't focus on anything anyways because everything is transient. So therefore, Krishna says, Abhyas, you finally be conscious of the present, which is Krishna, the supreme being Krishna, which is unchangeable, immutable, and very attractive and beautiful. Karshayati iti Krishna. So in fact, I was thinking, if mind does this activity of thinking, feeling and willing, as devotees also we do thinking, feeling and willing, is it not? Don't we do smaranam? Don't we do satatam chintayam, satatam kirtayam, satatam chintam. Chintayam means always thinking of Krishna, feel Krishna, and then do something for Krishna. We always do that. So then the point is not to get away with thinking, feeling and willing, but to purify the thinking, feeling and willing. Bhagavatam, actually I was thinking, how about we use Śrīmad Bhāgavatam as a book of psychology and then work with the modern methods to find out a cure for modern psychology. The ultimate psychological flexibility is to use Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, because then when somebody takes the shelter of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, then ultimately we can destroy this calumny. Because how do we know? If you really see the example right now we are going, 9th canto, the last chapter. What was the last chapter in the 9th canto? It was about Lord Krishna's appearance, is it not? After a whole chapter, Shukadeva Goswami thought, I will say Krishna's pastime in a gist, finish it, one chapter. But then, why? Because it's 7 days and 7 nights. And here is a person sat there 7 nights, 7 days without food, without water and trying to hear. He's in a dire condition. And after that 9th canto, in the 10th canto, Parikshit Maharaj in the 12th verse asks a question. He says, Etad anyat cha sarvam me mune Krishna vicheshtitam vaktumarhasi sarvagna shraddhadhanaya vistritam. He says, can you please tell me everything about Krishna in elaborately? I want to know elaborately. Why? Because he was born to know Krishna. That is why he was Parikshit. Because Parikshit, when he was in the womb, Krishna protected him inside the womb. So he was always doing parikshan. Who is that Krishna? I wanted to see Krishna. Now when Shukadeva Goswami has just given him a gist of it, now Parikshit Maharaj says, I want to know it everything in detail. And then Shukadeva, so here is a psychology, right? If you study really, this is psychology. Here is a person who is about to die and he knows he is about to die and he doesn't even have a disease, by the way. So that means he doesn't have pain, he doesn't have suffering of the body. It is just the thought that some Brahmana boy cursed him and then death will eventually come to him in 7 days. So he psychologically actually have the potential to get disturbed. But here is a person who is not disturbed. Here is a person who is not attracted to food, he is not attracted to medical insurance, he is not attracted to Medicare, and he is not attracted to posh hospitals, private hospitals. What is that is impelling him to enjoy this Krishna Katha even at such a position of dire traits? This is the magic of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. In fact, Shukadeva Goswami glorifies. He says, Vasudeva Katha Prashna Purusham Strin Punatihi Vaktaram Prachakam Strotrim Statpada Salilam Yatha. Shukadeva Goswami says, what a beautiful question you are asking, Parikshit. Just as this discussion we are having of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, 3 people benefit. Just as Ganga flowed from all the 3 worlds and purified all the 3 worlds, Ganga flowed inside of the material world and came from the toenail of Vishnu, purified Brahmaji, purified Lord Shiva also when he put it on his head. So all three are involved and the 3 worlds are purified. Similarly, when somebody are involved in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, the Vaktaram. The Vaktara means one who is speaking, and the Prachakam, one who is a hearer, and one who is Shrotrim, the listeners, the other listeners. All three are benefited by this Bhagavatam. All three gets benefited. So therefore Bhagavatam has the potential for a psychological treatment. And it has the potential to alleviate the mind beyond these material afflictions actually. That's why Prabhupada says, we start with the holy name. We start with, by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, constantly one can fix the mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. Savai manah Krishna padara vindayoho. And when the mind gets fixed on Krishna, then the thinking, feeling, willing get Krishnaized now. So thinking, feeling, willing is still there. I am still feeling it through my senses, but now it is not coming through the mind, but it is coming through the position of the spirit. So therefore it is pure thinking, it is pure feeling, and it is pure willing, not the impure or contagious willing, which is the material thinking, material willing, and material will of the heart. Then one can cross this material ocean. Just as Akrura came to Vrindavan to take him back to Mathura, just as gopis come to Kurukshetra to take back to Krishna, to take Krishna back to Vrindavan, we also can hear Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. We take the Bhagavatam Krishna through the chariot of our ears and take him directly into the heart of Vrindavan. So this is what the process of taking Bhagavatam. The chariot of the ears, Krishna as the Bhagavatam, the messages of Krishna through the Bhagavatam, through the chariot of the ears, straight into the heart of... that's why the heart in Sanskrit is called as Vasudeva. Vasudeva also means clean milk, as white as milk is called Vasudeva. If the heart is clean as white as milk, then Vasudeva is born in such a person. Or the son of Vasudeva is called Vasudeva. And when we establish Vasudeva in our hearts, then there will be no more birth, no more death, and no more distractions of this, treacherous mind, which has actually caused us to take birth after birth since time immemorial. So I'll stop here. If there are any questions, comments, or yes, ma'am.
Krishna Prabhuji, thanks for the class. Prabhuji, you are mentioning that Kalamini and Kali Krishna, they are different, right?
Yeah.
The same.
They act through Kali. Kalanemi acts through Kali only.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and Parikshit Maharaj is the one who has actually said to Kali to stay in the gold, right?
Yes.
Like he is the
Yes.
one to be in the gold. So how come Parikshit Maharaj chose to wear a gold helmet? He should have actually made, like, maybe in his kingdom.
Yes.
See this, because this is
Yes.
happening, so people need to be very careful, don't use gold or something like
Yes.
that. But instead, he actually chose to wear a
Yes.
gold helmet.
In this verse it is said,
Down.
Yato yato dhavati daiva choditam. Choditam means dhyoyona prachodaya. Choditam means it is because of the desire of the Lord. Everything happens, daiva choditam means it's a desire of the Lord. Yadarechaya, it is because of the desire of the Lord. Now Parikshit Maharaj had to go back to Godhead. Wearing the crown was just alibi. It was just a reason for him. Through that activity, imagine what we have got today. The Lord uses his devotees for the well-being of the whole universe. It was not a loss for Parikshit Maharaj, because just because he wore the crown, he heard Shukadeva Goswami, he heard for 7 days, and he went back to Godhead. And because of his activity of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, we are also eligible to hear Bhāgavatam by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. So sometimes the Lord, when Kalanemi acts in our lives, it is due to our past karmas. When Kalanemi acts in the devotee's life, like Parikshit Maharaj, it is the Lord's intervention. It's not that Kalanemi is interacting, but the Lord uses Kalanemi to make sure Parikshit Maharaj is a bit bewildered and he makes a mistake. So when he's making the mistake, it is the Kalanemi who is making the mistake, not Parikshit Maharaj. Sometimes it is taken like, because the devotees can never make a mistake. So like that. Does it make sense? This is just my understanding.
No, definitely. So having gold is good or bad?
You're welcome to Give it to us.
Gold itself is not good or bad, because gold is a material element. The intention behind using that gold is what makes it good or bad. If somebody is using gold in the worship of the Lord, then because everything is there for the pleasure of the Lord. It is Daiviyesha Gunamai. Krishna says it's my energy. Gold is his energy. So if gold is used, Tirupati Balaji, you know how many people donate gold to Tirupati Balaji, and Balaji adorns it. So if gold is used in the service of the Lord, it is not. But if gold is used for sense gratification, that is when Kalanimi comes and sits there. Kalanimi comes and sits there, and then gold is a very pure metal. Gold is used in the worship of the Lord. Even in the paraphernalia of the Lord, gold is used. But if it is used for sense gratification, then Kalanemi comes. So we have to be careful. So we have to be very careful. Even in wealth as well. Lanka is an example. Ravana was an example. He had made a city of gold, and eventually was destroyed by Hanuman because he was not using it in the service of the Lord. Makes sense, Madhu? Material world in itself is not bad. It is his riteratam yat pratiyet. So, but if it is used for my sense gratification, then that material world will create a destruction for me. It will harm me actually. I cannot harm material world. Material world harms me. But if that material world is used in the service of Krishna, then there is nothing called as material world. Is just my understanding.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, very nice class. We were discussing about the mind and how it's the problem, or the main problem to undisturbing and unsettling nature. So, Prabhu, in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita mentions that one who has controlled the mind has reached the super soul.
Yes.
And we know that the 6th chapter is in the context of laying out Dhyana Yoga, but we practice Bhakti Yoga. So, if controlling the mind is like a solution to everything, then why does Krishna sometimes condemn Dhyana Yoga? Because you see, he tells that Dhyana Yoga is not to be focused on, as Bhakti Yoga is.
Yeah, it's a Bhakti Shastri question. Nice question. See, the division of Bhagavad Gita as Jnana, Karma and Bhakti are just notional. Every word, every syllable of Bhagavad Gita is Bhakti Yoga. Harihi sarvatra giyate. There is not one syllable in Bhagavad Gita which cannot purify you. Acharyas can take out deeper meanings from Dhritarashtra Vacha also. So what to talk about the 6th chapter? Acharya Madhva says this. In the Mahabharata, every verse has 3 different meanings. One is the literal meaning, the second is the metaphorical meaning, the third is the spiritual meaning. So dhyana is important. Controlling the mind is important. Krishna himself says abhyasaneta kaunteya. What Krishna condemns is, especially if you see the monists, the Mayavadis, focus on this principle. When I was actually, I don't even want to say it actually. They think thinking, feeling, willing is a perception of the individualized consciousness, and it wants to become one with the Brahman. That's what they think. Mayavadi, right? So this is what Krishna condemns. This is what Prabhupada condemns. Jnana Yoga is condemned in the sense if it is a pursuit of impersonal jnana. If somebody thinks Krishna is impersonal, Krishna is only impersonal, and ultimately Krishna has no form, he is nirguna, nirakar. This form of Jnana Yoga Krishna condemns. But Krishna says, Jnani vai matam. He says, among all the 4 artho arthas, Jnani cha, he says, Jnanis are my favorite. So which Jnani he is talking about there? Jnani means Bhakta only. Jnani means one who Brahma janati Brahmana. One who knows Krishna in actuality, in Tattva, he is a Jnani. But which Jnana Yoga or which Jnani Krishna condemns is the Jnani who goes on speculating, who does not come to the ultimate point that the ultimate purpose of my dhyana is manana, dhyana and nididhyasana. The ultimate goal of my dhyana is Krishna. That is the perspective. So, uddhared atmanatmanam nanatmanam avashadayat. Krishna says that. When he says one has to improve the mind, all of this is to say, yes, bring your mind to focus on me. Because the final verse, Yoginam api sarvesham madgatayanantaratmana. So the ultimate culmination of 6th chapter is Bhakti Yoga. So dhyana should be done. When we do pranayama, when we do sandhya vandana, people who are doing sandhya vandana, all that is important to bring the mind to one point. I think Raghunatha Das Goswami's book, Manashiksha.
Manashiksha, Ji Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
So there is a book on mind, teaching the mind itself. So it is there, except that when these principles are applied in bhakti, we use that in bhakti. We don't use it as a separate endeavor like the yogis do. Because there is no use. As Prahladananda Maharaj was saying, Hiranyakashipu did 10,000 years of tapasya in yoga. Nobody can even match that. It's mind control actually, not eating anything, standing on one leg. But what's the point of such meditation when he was an asura? He remained an asura even after 10,000 years of yoga. But one who gives Savai Manah Krishna Padara Vindayo, when the mind is offered at Krishna's feet, then the mind becomes actually a deliverer of the jiva. That's my understanding.
Thank you. I have another question, which is, there's a pure self-realized devotee, and the devotee I'm talking about here is someone who has control of his mind.
Yeah.
Do they see Krishna in everyone, or do they see the super soul in everyone's heart?
Take the example of Srila Prabhupada. What do you think? Yes. They always see Krishna, and they also see the super soul. Because they see all Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti Shabdyati. They don't see them separate, they see all at the same time. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, Brahmane Gavihastini, Shuni Chaiva Swapakecha Pandita Samadarshina. When they see each one of us, they see the Paramatma within each one of us. And at all time, places and circumstances, they see Krishna, Krishna's Daiva Choditam, that Krishna is behind everything that is happening in this universe. And at the same time, they also perceive Krishna in everything and everything. Well, how they perceive Krishna, we don't know. Until we experience it. And that is the point of this endeavor called Krishna consciousness. To come to the point of seeing Krishna face to face. Make sense? So we'll stop here. Grantara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.